I've never felt less agile than during Larry's presentation. I picked out this image, and I have to contradict Bill slightly in terms of he said all organizations are agile. I don't think the World Bank could ever be considered to be an agile organization. And I have two images here which I've picked out specifically. They're both huge grey structures. They're both change direction fairly slowly. And in a lot of ways, in relation to you guys in the SSP, we're in a parallel universe. We do have a publishing program, but in terms of what we do, it's not core. So I'm going to go on to some context. The bank is attempting to modernize at the moment. And what that means is it's under significant pressure, or has been under significant pressure. And in terms of in senior management terms, it's very keen to extend its transparency and its reach. So in early 2010, it adopted an open agenda, what it calls open development. And that meant that in April 2010, it opened up all its data. It made it all freely available. It was called the Open Data Initiative. Gained the bank a lot of kudos, and it certainly increased the profile of the data and the usage. Later that year, we also implemented the access to information policy. In real terms, that means almost all the bank's documentation and information, with the exception of things like HR records, are free and openly available. I work there. I don't particularly want you guys to see my HR records. The third development is to do, and the one I'm going to speak mostly about, is knowledge, which is in essence opening up the bank's knowledge and research. Earlier in April, we launched the Open Access Repository, which again, may be a dirty word in this august environment, but we had some pressure to open up our content. In concert with that, we adopted a CC BY license, so obviously all our research and content is now not only free and open, but it's there for everyone to use and reuse how they wish. And we're also implementing an open access policy within the bank, where bank researchers are expected to deposit their content within the repository, and that will start in July. So that's a bit of context. In terms of within the office of the publisher, we are under internal pressure to modernize, the modernization pressure from senior management in terms of the open agenda, but we're also under the same external pressures that you guys are under. So as a publisher, we feel the same industry and technological pressures coming to bear on us. But it has made us rethink our product mix and what our product mix is and what we want to do with that product mix. So here I've sort of broken down what we disseminate. I'm going to call it disseminate because the bottom category we don't publish. We have our corporate flagships. They're our highest value, traditional high print run color products. They're annual reports, things like the World Development Report. We have a major peer-reviewed series, which is high quality research. It's standalone or they're within series. A typical book program. We have what I've termed here, and that is my term rather than the Office of the Publisher's term, is a regular ebook program. And in essence, we're making that e-only and trying to get it to market as quickly as possible. And finally, we have, as you might imagine, within the World Bank, there are a lot of dark corners, and there are lots of research. There is a lot of research which is produced, which never sees the light of day and never gets out in the world. So we're trying to seek out that too. Now I'm going to use the term agile. For the American audience, that's the same as agile. But what does agile e-publishing mean within the Office of the Publisher? Well, in terms of opening ourselves up, it means transforming, as Bill mentioned, our whole publishing philosophy and our whole publishing processes. So we're implementing almost every online and system you can imagine, adopting new workflows, and essentially changing ourselves from a print-first house into an e-first house. in terms of the impacts and the objectives, that means that we're attempting to disseminate our content as widely as possible, and to that effect we have a system implemented already called the Digital Asset Distribution System, and that's aimed at increasing our reach. It's very much in line with the bank's desire to open up its research and to make it as accessible as possible. We need to increase the flexibility of how we operate. I'm sure you can imagine the bank is a very, very staid environment and has been working in a similar way for a long time, even in the office of the publisher. And we need to implement workflows that have the greatest level of flexibility and workflows that are supported by automation. And to that effect, we are in the process of developing a statement of work to go out to market for an RFP for a content management system. But essentially, we're trying to generate as much flexibility in our workflow as we can. And we're adopting XML standards. Now, we have an XML standard, but it was very complicated. So we didn't use it. And because we could get all our formats from our vendors that we wanted, we let it lie fallow. We're now in the process of developing a new DTD, an XML DTD, and the aim of this is to maximize our repurposability. And I have an example later of something we had in XML form, which we've done as much as we feel we can with for now. We have a new e-product unit, which I head, and that unit's objective is to take content as quickly as we can and in as nimble and innovative ways as we can, and reuse it if you can, if possible. Now, I know that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this diagram. I'm sure it's a Visio diagram that all publishers have either created or in the process of creating or have seen before. But I did want to include it because it was part of a strategy paper I wrote for the bank a couple of years ago. And in the green boxes are emphasized the areas where we're in essence trying to increase our agility. So there are all the areas in which we're implementing standards or new systems, and they're the areas that we hope will provide the maximum benefit going forward in terms of repurposing our content. Okay. Simple terms, I wanted to include some metrics because the bank's all about data. We aim to maximize our electronic dissemination, partially because of the open agenda, but partially because the bank's mission is to relieve poverty and to get its research out there. So I have some statistics here for April. We launched our open access repository, the Open Knowledge Repository, on April the 10th. In that first month of April, we had over 115,000 visits. We distribute our content through a number of free e-reader channels, and as an example, Google Books was over 300,000 book views last month, but over the course of the calendar year 11, there were over 5 million. We participate actively on the free social reading sites. I picked out the one that we have most success with. And in April, we had, again, for Scribd, we had over 100,000 views. Now, those are all sites and places in which you can get the content for free. I should say it is the office of the publisher. We still have an obligation to try and monetize some of this material. So we do distribute content and create content for commercial ebook channels. And we also have a paid subscription site, the eLibrary. Okay, I've sort of concatenated these two terms onto a single slide. As I said, we're in a period of great transformation and change, and at the moment we're working out new workflows with our clients, who are our internal authors, to try to move more quickly through the publishing process, the production process. We're also, as I mentioned, looking at automation and new tools to manage effectively from the receipt of the manuscript all the way through to the dissemination. We have to integrate with a number of bank systems too, and it's, as I'm sure you can imagine, it's a significant organization, the bank, which has significant requirements in terms of its IT. In terms of repurposability, we produce everything in the complete range of file formats, ebook, PDF, EPUB, and we will continue to do those. But we are, which is part of the reason I guess I'm invited here today, with somebody's help from the panel, we are implementing an XHTML DTD. And we're rolling that out within the next month. And in collaboration with that, we're also going through an extensive RFP for a vendor pool to deliver to that XHTML RFP, XHTML DTD. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing in terms of reuse. It's we're a small. While we're a huge organization, we're a very small office, and my new product team is a very small team. So we have to be very selective on what we work on. But in essence, we're trying to deliver new products or new versions of existing content as quickly as possible in as innovative ways as possible. And we've done this through subject or title-specific portals. We've done this with apps, and we've done this with some enhanced products. And I want to talk a little bit about, or demonstrate a little bit, the Agile products we've created with one of our corporate flagships, which is the World Development Report of 2012, which is, at this point, our most important publication. Okay, so Agile Content. It would be wrong of me not to mention the print version. I didn't pick it up before I left the office, so it's still in the office, so you can't read it. But the one thing you can read, or a number of things you can read, are, which one am I going to? That one. And here's, oh, it worked. Okay, this is our, I called it earlier a subject portal when I was discussing this with my manager, and it's not a subject portal. It's the World Development Report itself is on a specific development topic each year. But this free site is a site of every single done over the last 30 years. It harps back to the XML that fell fallow, but it's a full text XML based product. It delivers some of the benefits of XML. We can chunk the content. We can create custom ebooks, all those kind of things with it. The only thing that it requires from a user is to find it, but also to register. So that if you go to the wdronline.worldbank.org, you can gain access to every one of our World Development Reports. Okay. Okay. I should have stayed where I was. Okay. The next one, again, showing the World Development Report 2012. This is our open access repository. Again, you can see the CC BY license that's on there. It is our open access site, and it contains, a fairly short item record. You can look at the full item record, but it also has attached to it the PDF and a text file. And obviously, in terms of the mission of the World Bank, including a text file as an imperative, because we're working in lots of countries and lots of areas and regions with very low bandwidth, so we have to be mindful of that when we're producing this. Okay, I want to show one of the other things we've done with the World Development Report 2012 is to develop an app. Again, it's a free app. So it's for the iPad. It's based around the original content with some additional features. So we have a table of contents with some information in different languages, which within a multilingual organism. It has some key messages at the bottom left, which in essence are with most of our corporate flagships. It has the browse by options on the right hand side, and so it has some multimedia, it has some browsing by region. Obviously a very regional organization has to provide information in a very regional way. Browse by topics. We're an organization which is very siloed according to the areas and topics within which we work, and it allows you to browse by keyword. Now I'm just doing this because I think it's quite neat. It's not for any other reason, but it allows you, this 3D tag cloud within this app allows you to browse by concept or country or section. And if you select something, then the content related to that keyword, that concept or country, appears on the right-hand side. There are a couple of tabs at the top, but again, this is promoting ourselves freely. We're trying to get this out there as much as possible. Okay. It'll come eventually. Excellent. Okay, so this is, I was very taken with Larry's video, so I'm very pleased now. This is an enhanced ebook we've done of the World Development Report 2012. It's an experimental stage at the moment, but I get to play a video, so I'm quite pleased, and it's one of the explainer videos that Larry said was so paramount. The bank has a number of, the bank has a huge corporate communications department, which is producing videos regularly. So the opportunity for us to enhance these corporate flagships is significant. It's just a question of having the right EPUB tool to be able to do it. The experimental EPUB that we've done has a number of format EPUB, which we're not as taken as we thought we would be with, and it has some spreads and various sort of less neat features than that, but that gives you an example of what we've been doing. I keep jumping out. Okay, so those are the those are all the things that we've done, as well as the print version which I left behind in the office with the World Development Report 2012. It's a blueprint for us in relation to our flagship titles. We're experimenting, but we intend to do a lot more with the same content. I did want to finish with a ship. I had to look online. You know, it's the wonders of Google. You can find a cargo ship called Agile. It's not an aircraft carrier, but it is delivering the goods. So I would like to say, in summary, in terms of what we're doing, it's all about the new systems, the new approaches, and the new workflows that we're implementing to allow us to repurpose and reuse content. And in terms of within the office of the publisher, we're not really a parallel universe. Thank you.